to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
Some people have certain abnormalities in the brain that make it hard for them to process and absorb information. These problems, which can make learning to read and write difficult, are usually noticed first in school. A child with a learning disability may have trouble keeping up with his classmates, difficulty remembering, or difficulty concentrating. One type of learning disability is dyslexia. A child with dyslexia has normal vision and intelligence, but has difficulty reading because he perceives the letters in words differently. He may see letters backwards, upside down, or sideways. This inability to process written information, makes it difficult for a child to learn to read and write. Another type of learning disability causes some children to have trouble translating their thoughts into writing. They can usually communicate well by speaking, but when they try to write, they can become completely blocked and can't write at all, or they can only write very slowly. Their handwriting may look like that of a much younger child, or they may have trouble with spelling. A third type of learning disability is the inability to focus on a task for a long period of time. This problem, called attention deficit disorder, is caused by differences in brain activity that affect the ability to concentrate. The disorder is usually accompanied by hyperactivity, extreme overactivity. Children with attention deficit disorder have trouble sitting still, paying attention, and controlling impulses, and this interferes with schoolwork, friendships, and family life. Fortunately, we now understand that learning disabilities can be treated. If left untreated, they can lead to a variety of problems for children later on, such as difficulty with reading and writing or problems with math skills.
Using points and examples from the lecture, describe
Next. Olive. The international rivalry service of this country is difficult to use.
now, listen to part of a lecture in a music theory class.
in the music theory class.
Music is made of the same medium as speech, the sound sequence. Just as language is made up of separate ordered parts, music is made up of notes, chords, measures, phrases, tunes, and so on. Because both language and music have structure, our ability to understand and learn them comes naturally. Just as we are able to separate the sounds in spoken language, we can distinguish the individual sounds that musical instruments make. When we hear someone speak a foreign language, we notice how continuous the speech seems, but we cannot distinguish single words. The experience of hearing a foreign music is sort of the same. We aren't sure what counts as a note, or where one note ends and another begins. The sound system of a musical language defines musical sounds. This is why we are able to distinguish one sound from another, to recognize the difference between A and A sharp. And just as spoken languages limit their sounds to a small number of all of the sounds that the human voice can make, so do musical language limit the pitches to a small number within the octave. Like spoken language, music has syntax. Musical syntax refers to the relationships such as the hold between notes and chords and phrases. The primary purpose of musical syntax is to control and order the flow of information streaming to the ears. Musical syntax reduces the randomness of sound. It produces patterns of melody and harmony, thus allowing us to process a phrase and to understand it. Music, like language, evolves over time. An example of a sound change in a musical language could be the introduction of a new instrument, or the slow advance of a particular vocal technique, things that change the color of the sound. When two musical communities come together and compete, musical influences are at the heart of this contact. One of the most dramatic results of competition in music is American jazz. Two very distinct musical languages, the African and European, had existed side by side in American society, so the ground was fertile for the evolution of jazz, a new musical language containing elements of both African and European music.
Summarize the points made in the lecture, explaining how they are similar to points made in the reading. Summarize the points